Hello and welcome to the Rambling About podcast. I'm Donnie.
I'm Nick. Today we're rambling about birds. We had a lot of positive feedback on our pilot program there on the podcast. And today I think we pretty important to go over some of the essentials we use on a pretty well daily basis on birding.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good start for things. As you can see here, we've got the table littered today with more stuff than what you would have noticed. And again, I guess welcome if you're watching for the first time. We did have a separate show, so if you want to go back and watch that, you can sort of get the gist of the program. But today we've filled the table up with some of the basic things you need when you want to get into birding. Don't be intimidated by the big cameras. They're not as essential, but they're essential to us. But we will be talking about some of the other material.
I was thinking too, it's like, what would be the most important part? Like before I came, I was like, what would be the one thing you couldn't like leave the house without? Would it be like the app that tells you what things are, or the binoculars, some sort of magnification device?
For me, I'd have to say the basic thing you're going to need, even if you've got the best of eyesight, is a decent set of binoculars.
Yeah.
It's too hard to tell exactly what you're looking at. There's so many nuances within some of the bird species that when you're looking at it, one can look very much like another one until you get a closer look. So
especially getting into sparrows,
and the warblers, once we get the migration of birds, even some of the blackbirds. On a quick look, if you look at the top of the tree here, as you can see, we're in a different forest today, and these are real forests.
Yeah, no green screen.
Look, we are.
Yeah, leaves.
This is some flora on the floor. So anyway, so whenever you're looking up into the trees, you're going to see silhouettes. When you look through binoculars, clears things up. So you can buy really cheap binoculars. My advice is starting around the $300 mark. Yeah.
Like we got I got like the Vortec, I think Diamondback. I think those are about $300. And they do well. I think Nikon Monarch 5s is another staple very popular, that a lot of people use.
And that's I know to some people that'll still be a bit pricey for getting into a hobby.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you can, that's kind of where you're going to have to start your budget. You may be able to pick up a pair second-hand used in one of the buy and sell sites.
Yep.
But a set of 8x42.
That's a
decent staple. Some people swear by 10 buys. I personally don't have the steadiness of hand to hold those while carrying other things around.
Yeah.
But you're going to want to spend a bit of money on that, and there's something that's going to last you. It's not something it's dead after a year. There's no mechanicals in it.
Most of them have a 25-year or lifetime warranty, so it's a buy once kind of deal.
Yeah.
Don't go and spend $2,000 on a pair of Swarovskis the first time. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, if you want to go by all means, but
you don't have to.
Yeah, it doesn't make the experience any better.
No, absolutely.
That's for sure.
Certainly, it's more about getting out.
Yeah.
Right. You want to get out there, and then you want to start enjoying what you're seeing while you're out there. I think probably at a later date we can maybe do a bit more in depth into different types of binoculars, the prices and that there. But for now, we should just cover how to get out there and how to start enjoying and seeing things. So the binoculars to me is a must. Everything else is sort of secondary.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back to what some people still do, what a lot of people did before when they went out, they may have had their guidebook with them. Someone didn't. They just looked through their binoculars and sketched. Either if they were good at drawing, even just a bird shape to sort of give a size, and then they went back and researched it. Where most people are a bit past that now, where we're even getting past books. The apps have pretty much taken over. You can get everything on an app.
Yeah. And even the apps now, like the Audubon and Merlin, I believe Merlin has it as well, that you can kind of describe the bird. Is it duck shape, robin shape?
Yeah, it goes
colors,
down. Gives you the sizes to go through, which again is helpful. But as much as possible, unless you're identifying them quickly, it is good to try and have that basic knowledge, so that you're not spending the whole day looking up apps what the bird is. You want to be able to quickly reference birds. That'll not come quickly to most people. You will have to. There'll be a bit of a learning curve, but that's your sort of basic equipment. So you've got an app with some sort of idea, field guide, or the book field guide you get the small ones that you can take with you.
Yep.
Some of them are even waterproof for that kind of thing. I personally have always used to carry around my backpack, but more or less stays in the car now.
Yeah, I definitely do the app.
Yeah, but I'm with the apps, it's just, and for the most part, we're at a point where we're able to identify most of the birds we're going to see.
Yeah.
And if we can't, we know it's a more rare bird.
Yeah.
Or else it's a female red-winged blackbird.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
If you don't know what it is, just pin it on female red-winged blackbird.
Absolutely.
It's usually pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So your basic just to get out there and enjoy it is your binoculars and some sort of guide. If you don't have a very basic knowledge, other than that, it's still good. Anybody to have a guide tells you the regions and all that. And if you're into the tech side of things, having your phone with an app on it.
Yep.
But even at that, I'm not sure if some of these will identify things if you're not in data coverage. So like I know Point Peely's very sketchy with nearly every cell phone provider. So you're always searching. Your battery drains pretty quickly.
No
down
5G there.
Yeah. Unfortunately for Nick, no 5G. But yeah, so like even if you can, you just don't want to be wasting your time doing that as much.
Yeah, you don't want to be buried in the book or buried in the
phone.
You're
out there to enjoy it. So trying to just muster up a basic knowledge and then maybe recalling things. If you make quick notes, again, make notes with your phone, your written note, whatever, and then try and find whenever you're taking that break, when you're a bit of downtime, then do your research. Don't get your head stuck down.
Yeah, because when I started, I didn't even have binoculars. I just kind of stumbled across birding really one day, just walking through Point Peely during spring migration, and it was like walking through, I don't know, almost like a zoo. The amount of colorful birds everywhere I didn't even know existed. And all I had at the time was just a camera with like a cheap 300mm lens, which was got me through probably the first 5 years of my birding career, I guess. Right. And then that was great too, because you would take a picture, go home, and then you could cross-reference all day long if you wanted to, and it doesn't ruin the experience of being out there.
Yeah.
And
even at that, so going from the point, were you into birding first or photography first?
Photography first, for sure.
And then, so what got you into more birding side or wildlife side of things?
Probably that day, really, walking through Point Peely. I lived right near Ojibwe as well, so it's like walking through Ojibwe, and then you're surrounded by deer and like pretty good area. And then walking through Point Peely was definitely the day that got me into the birding, because it was just like a fallout day, which I never even knew was a word at the time, right? And then you're just walking around. It made no sense. Like, you've never seen anything like it until you experience it. And then I was pretty well hooked ever since then, up at 5 a.m. come migration time, and you're out trying to see what you can see.
Yeah, well, I'm the same. Mine, when I moved here, I was all into photography a little bit. Again, was mentioned in the last podcast about the landscapes, and then just wanted to record those moments. And then there was a great grey owl appeared in Kingsville area, and it was on my route to work every day. And first of all, I didn't pay too much attention to it. Like, I've always had an interest in birds, even back home in Northern Ireland. It was just backyard birds, whatever. I'd never went out seeking birds out. But this sort of grabbed people's attention. So the first time I went past, there was a couple of guys standing on the side of the road, and I said, "What are you doing?" "Oh, look at that. That's a great grey owl. It's never been seen down here before." And I'm looking, and this where? And it was like right across the ditch. So I was able to get my phone out. And even in this time, it was nearly 10 years ago now.
iPhone 1.
Yeah, well, no iPhones, no iPhones here. I think it was a Nokia of some description. So no, I took the photo with my phone because it was only across the ditch, and then that bird was there for like 2 weeks. Over the Christmas period of that year, and every day the crowds were getting more and more. I stopped talking to people, and there were a 13-hour drive from somewhere in Pennsylvania. Somebody else came from Illinois somewhere, going like, just because this record. So I'm going like, what's the interest in birds? And then I started finding out this area, Essex County, is just such a hot spot for birds. So the next spring, so that was in the winter. In the spring, I went with a buddy down to Point Peely during the migration, and walking a couple of trails, started to see all these little warblers. Had a cheapy pair of binoculars on me. I'm a small camera setup, was more set up for landscape. Again, same as you, just the small 300mm lens on there, and I'm going, oh, look at this, look at that bird, look at that little tiny bird, all these colours. So stood at one tree, and there was 4 or 5 different species of warbler in it.
Yeah.
And I was blown away. I was hooked. And going like, oh, and people saying, like, no, you can get like 100 species in a day, in a good day.
The best way I've been able to describe it to people, like especially my generation, we kind of grew up in video games and stuff like that. If everyone remembers, a couple of years ago, Pokemon Go was like the big thing. Everyone was outside, basically trying to find a new species of Pokemon, right? That's what birding is.
Right.
You're outside with your camera trying to find a new species of bird. And it's like that's the best way I've came up to describe it to like just people that like games and stuff like that. If you like Pokemon Go, you'd like birding. Pretty well same deal, just real life.
And I'd rather be with real life. You can keep your video games and do that. Yeah, so there is so much out there. And when you get out, I do feel like once you experience a day like that, and those weren't our biggest days ever. No, but they're landmark. They're stick in your memory because like
it's what got you started.
Exactly, got you started. And you like even now. Oh, I think the first day was a black and white warbler was one of the ones that really caught my eye. Oh, so every time I see a black and white warbler, even though they're a bit more common to see in migration, I'm still hooked on them. I always want to get a good photo of them. I'm actually still not sure if I've got a really good photo of one, but it's just one that always resonates with me because
it looks so different too,
and that memory's locked in there.
Zebra bird,
exactly. There's just so many of those. Again, warblers are the sort of big hook during migration. There is a lot of other colourful birds, but just those little wood warblers that start, some of them are in the ground, shoveling about in the undergrowth, some of them are high up in the trees, and everything in between. And when you get those days with the fallout, so the fallout is whenever the birds have migrated across the lake, and for whatever reason, either the weather or they're tired, storms, whatever it is, they fall out and they all come down into Point Peely. Well, that's where we are. They'll come down into the region, and there'll be everywhere you look, there'll be warblers in the trees.
It looks like Christmas ornaments on trees.
Right, pretty much.
It doesn't even make sense. It's you have to experience it.
So like I said, once you experience a fallout day, it's
going back.
Exactly. There isn't, but they keep you going for the years that there isn't, because like. Again, last year was good. It was different because of COVID, but no, the year before there was a couple of really good days, and then I remember 2 years before that there was so a lot of it is to do with the weather and how the migration's going. That's another good thing we could mention is that the migration is somewhat predictable. With again technology. They're able to do bird forecasts.
Literally shows up on the radar.
The radar. So they're able to the scientists are able to use the weather radar. They can see what is in there, so they'll see clusters, and they know it's not rain, snow, whatever. So they've now narrowed it down to, well, it's birds. So now Audubon and Cornell University, all that, they use that data and post it, so we can see when the birds are moving.
At least.
Exactly. So
gives you a heads up.
You'll know. Depending on the weather. Ours is always sort of sticky because you got the lake. So sometimes they stick on the Ohio side of the lake, and we don't get the big fallout that they might get.
They'll stick at like McGee Marsh kind of area.
What's the other, Black Swamp. So other than that, I'm not sure if you can hear that. We've got
some visitors.
We've got a skein of geese going overhead. So we're in like a swampy area, so we've got a lot of waterfowl around us.
Good warbler area come spring.
Yeah, this area here, a friend of mine, one of the guys I first went birding with, him and his dad were on the way to Point Peely one time coming from the Chatham area, and they stopped off here on the way, and he thinks this is the greatest birding place in the world, but this conservation area, because they came here and they got, like, I don't remember what he said, but he got warblers everywhere. Again, one of those things locks in your memory. And he got a better day here than he had in Peely. So this sticks. He thinks this is better than Peely.
You hear about that all the time, though. It's like 2 years ago, we met this group of guys from Europe, like flew here from Europe, went to Point Peely, had a bummer day. Then we seen them 2 days later at Point Peely, at Ojibwe, and I did a lap through Ojibwe, and I found, literally, you can find like a little spot that's like 50 meters by 50 meters, and there's just tons of warblers there. Everywhere else you go, it'd be pretty dead. So I came back to the feeder area and talked to those guys, brought them back there. They're blown away. You'd find 8, 9, 10 species just in this one little corner. And it's like that everywhere, though. It's like come here, you have an amazing day. Point Peely could be kind of crappy. But it really does come down to educated luck.
It is. So as much as you learn habitat, you have to understand this isn't necessarily most of the warblers' habitat. They're on their way somewhere.
Exactly.
There are a few that breed and nest in the Essex County. For people watching from other areas, you'll start to learn if there are the same ones nesting in your area, or if they're starting to go up. So most of them are going to the boreal forest in Ontario. So they're making quite a northward trek. So if you do see them, or when you do get the hot days, it's only a day or two. Some of them will stay for 2, 3. Again, depends on the weather. If it's an oppressive weather and the winds are against them, these birds are so tiny, they need all the wind they can get, so they need south winds pushing them northward. And if they're not getting that, they're content to stay, forage around, get some food, get some energy, and then as soon as the south winds come in, pushes them on their way. So you will see that some days are diamonds, other days aren't.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is certain nuances that you've got to be aware of that aren't necessarily going to be the same. Some of the evidence will be anecdotal. You sometimes you just don't know. You've only got your own recollection. Oh, this was good this year. Doesn't mean that same day is going to be good the next year.
Yeah, oh yeah.
There is trends and things over years. You can see the trends do say that's why the Bird Festival in Peely's in May, which we actually should mention.
Yeah.
There is no Bird Festival in Peely this year. It was announced this week that the Bird Festival will not go ahead, so there will be no scheduled events in Point Peely this year for the second year running, unfortunately, due to COVID. They just can't. They've said they can't manage
that many people.
And under the restrictions and without knowing exactly how things are going to look. So Peely won't have any guided tours. Probably restricted numbers coming in, so probably the recommendation would be not to come to Peely in groups. We'll be around there because we live here, but we'll be out in different areas, parks and stuff, and we'll probably be doing little tours and workshops.
Yeah, so send us an email if you're interested, for sure.
Yeah, if you're interested, drop us an email. Email's in the notes, or we'll probably have it on the screen here. Just send us a message. We'll be doing tours and different things, workshops, a couple of times a day on the days that suit, or if we can get people, and we'll do it for a morning or.
Whoa.
Oh, trees are falling. All right. This is a danger of doing things live outside. Is the wind's kind of strong here, and these trees don't look as strong. There are some beaver marks around the trees too, so trees may fall on us due to beaver.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, if you want to come on a workshop or a tour, guided tour sort of thing, to learn some of the basics of birding, some of the birds that are coming through, we'll be doing that sort of end of April at the earliest, and then through May. Certainly get in touch, drop us an email, and we'll connect with you.
Yeah, some of the early arrivals are already here. We got the red-winged blackbirds, seen a bunch of killdeers the other day.
Yeah, that's unfortunately, that's another thing I was thinking about the other day. So some of the birds that are pretty annoying, like red-winged blackbirds, pretty focal, pretty annoying, aggressive.
Starlings.
All these birds. So it's unfortunate that they come first because they take all the good nesting spots.
Yeah.
The birds that we would like to nest can't stay around here and nest because they're getting pushed out. Their numbers are decreasing, and the invasive species like the house sparrow, like the starling, mute swans are taken over because they're in early. They take the nesting spots and they're aggressive. We've got other ones like the grackles. The grackles are back there singing loudly. Again, they're a native bird, but they're not as pleasant as some of the other ones we'd like to have around. But again, it's just seeing them. They're the ones, I was thinking about this the other day, like they're the ones all come early. They all get territory pretty quick. They all take up the nesting territory.
I never thought of that, So it definitely makes it way more competition for all the stuff we'd like to see.
Exactly,
anyway.
So you get some of the stuff coming in afterwards. There's no room for them. Obviously little pockets of these other birds are able to nest, but in general.
And especially some of these more unique habitats, like you don't have like starlings nesting down low here like a warbler would, but
I think that actually there's possibility. This is the kind of territory that could be good for some of the warblers.
I think there's prothonotary in this area. No,
there is prothon. I'm not sure if there's any confirmation of nesting here, but in the last few years there has been some spotted here. Again, perfect. We've got the swampy area. You're able to get the bugs and some of the cavity. They're a cavity nester, so they're able to find some rotten tree holes and things like that. Some of these areas do. I'm not sure if this area has any boxes set up. But yeah, the set boxes up for them. But again, they're coming later. There's other things taking their territory. If you look, the tree swallows, I've watched prothonotary warblers bringing nesting material, and literally as soon as they fly out, the tree swallows then pulls their stuff out and so the aggression of the tree swallow is a bit stronger. On the other hand of that is that tree swallows numbers are generally declining. Not really declining in this area. We have pretty strong populations. We get tons of them. So. I think some of the things as far as control measures should be a bit more regional specific, because although some of these are doing well, like it's the detriment of some of the other birds that, like the prothonotary. There's nowhere near the amounts of prothonotary as there is tree swallows. So how do you dissuade the tree swallows from nesting where you'd want the prothonotary? So I don't. That's for some scientists to work out and stuff. Like
it's way over my head.
So just things that interest me. You like to see how things are working and what's being done. I know that they do a lot of proactive things to have prothonotary warblers nesting, but whenever I go and you witness it, you've got all these boxes, but you've got all these other birds competing for the same space. So I don't know, but yeah. So that's the bird migration is going to be through May. Obviously, we're talking about this in the middle of March.
Yeah.
But time goes by pretty quickly.
Feels like May today, though.
Well,
beautiful.
It's another beauty day. As you can see, I've got the glasses on. The glasses are on more on because I've got a bit of a headache rather than, and they give me like supervision.
Yeah,
so
they are good.
Yeah, they are good glasses. So like this, everything to me is in HD. So I want to experience looking at Nick like your experience looking at him
4K.
in HD. So the bird festival, that's a great time to start to learn things because you're going to get blown away with what you see.
Exactly.
So anybody they're viewing and wants to get into bird watching or is in casually into birding or maybe has a backyard feeder but wants to see more, certainly connect with us. We want you to connect with us too. So if you're watching this and you're seeing things in your backyard or on your walks, again, drop us an email, send us a picture or a story, tell us what you've seen. We'd love to tell your stories. I'd love that to be a platform just to share what we've got in our area.
Yeah, kind of showcase the pictures as well that you get. And,
if you're out there and you're shooting fantastic pictures, if you're shooting terrible pictures, but it's still a nice
story,
or you could have the rarest bird in the area. As long as you've got a record picture, we'd love to share that. No, we'd love to give that a platform. So certainly get in contact with us, drop us an email, and we'll certainly put your picture on the podcast. So yeah, I guess we'll talk a little bit about some of the books. I'm not sure. So
what do we got here?
I've got the one I use is the National Geographic book. The most popular ones are Sibley and Peterson's.
Yeah,
they're the two that people swear, especially the traditional birders swear by Sibley's. I only ever have one problem with Sibley's. One of the more recent ones they brought out, like the most basic bird that we have, the robin, was the wrong color in the book. So it's probably not his fault. No, he probably drew it probably. The printer.
Yeah.
But this book still came out with this robin that didn't look like a robin. So
Bluebird.
Yeah, I stayed away from it. So anyway, I use the National Geographic. This is the field guide one. It's got these handy little tabs for the different. So you got the sparrows, warblers, flycatchers, gulls, sandpipers, and hawks, and then in between those. But that's your main categories, and it's able to quickly, which is good, especially as a field guide. You want to be able to quickly get the warblers, and then when you got to go through, you can quickly get an idea.
That's a nice setup. I think mine.
Is yours photos?
Mine's photos, actual photos, and it's kind of same idea, except for it's color coded. You got shorebirds.
Okay.
Like all that kind of deal.
So you have to learn the color coding.
You gotta learn the colors. If you're color blind, though, I don't know if they offer an option yet.
Well, as long as you know what the colors are, you don't have to.
True.
Right? Unless I tell you go to green and you're in red.
Yeah, true. That's that'd be tough.
Yeah,
but same idea.
So there is a bit of debate. Some people say it's better to have the drawings. Because it always gives
more detailed and
always gives you the true representation of what they are. And other books, some books have photos. Now, to a certain extent, I do prefer, being a photography guy, I prefer the photos, but I can understand what people say.
Yeah, it makes more sense. Like it's like a manual for a bird if you're looking at that, right? It breaks it down to every feather pretty well.
Exactly. So it gives you all the information. You can see it a bit better, so you're able to look through and see which section of the bird, and then it typically gives you the different plumages. There's not usually the amount of space in a photography book to give you all. And
it's like they're really more of a generic photo, and all the like the bird books with photos, nothing like spectacular. Kind of leaves some room for guessing what it is. That's for sure. If you look at some of the more complicated birds.
Yeah, once you get into some of the shorebirds.
Yeah.
Shorebirds are probably something if you're just getting into birding.
Yeah,
you won't want to enjoy. Gulls is another one.
Sparrows.
Like some of the sparrows like are not easily identifiable.
Yeah.
So they can, if you're really trying to identify these, they could put you off birding.
Like even me, still, like I don't consider myself extremely heavily into birding, but I definitely into it, like pretty heavily. But I always go for the colorful birds.
Right.
Like they're easier to like distinguish, and you see them quite often, and they're more exciting to see.
Right.
You can see them for like, you have a bright blue bird in the middle of a pretty dull forest like today, it stands out pretty well, or yellow or red or whatever color.
But what's also remarkable is, even though you say the color, these bright birds, that's still their camouflage to a certain extent.
Yeah.
So some of them do, like even though it takes you a while to, you can hear a cardinal singing, You're looking all around. It takes a while to get your eyes on that, and then once the foliage comes on the tree,
you can't see them.
You can't see them. You can't see any of the birds.
Yeah.
So although they're really bright, they still blend in with their environment. But yeah, like you say, so you kind of get more points for identifying some of the sparrows and gulls and that there because
they're harder.
They're harder. So if you go out and you see one of those, or some of the other birds like the nighthawks and that, like they're pretty much just looking at camouflage on the tree. So if you do spot them, you've done well to spot them.
Yep.
The warbler's not there. It's just more trying to get them because they move so quickly.
Yeah, you really only have a few weeks to find them, and then they're gone.
Yeah.
For the most part, anyway.
Yeah. So
it's significantly harder to find anyway.
Yeah, and so the beauty of this area and Point Pelee specifically is because Point Pelee goes out into the lake. In a point, the foliage comes on the trees later.
Yeah.
It stays cooler out there, so we get pretty much the whole of May. By the end of May, sometimes it's becoming a little hard, depending on what the weather's been like, to see through the foliage. But that's the beauty of Pelee. The birds are coming in and there's not a leaf on the tree. Makes it a lot easier to see. So the first couple of weeks into the third week of May, it's fantastic. You know, it's and pretty much anywhere along the north shore of Erie has the same experience. It's always nicer if you go to a woodland or forest with smaller trees.
Because you're not looking at treetops all day.
Yeah, because a lot of it you get warbler neck, as it's called. You're constantly birding like this all day.
That is what makes Point Pelee so great too. Like you go to the tip, the trees really aren't that tall. You don't have 100-foot oaks out there, so it's you're not, and you got tons of ground cover. So they're all bouncing around on all the shrubs, right, pretty well at eye level.
Right, absolutely.
And that's like the whole from the visitor center. Like that's the trail probably to recommend. If you're there at early morning, walk from the visitor center to the point and then back.
Right.
That's the trail.
There's a lot of people who try to get the Pelee to get the first
sunrise.
They get the tram, so they're on the first one because people aren't going to walk. You can't get in. I don't think you can get in early enough unless you're staying in there to get to the tip before sunrise. And as soon as the sun rises,
did we take the tram? I don't know. I think I walked. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you gotta walk.
So if you don't, so that's, and everybody tries to get there as soon as possible.
Yeah.
You get the guys with the scopes who are out looking into watching the first birds coming in.
Yep.
And some of them are doing the reverse migration. They've come into Pelee, landed, and they get up and they want to get their bearings, so they fly back into the lake a little bit, get a bit of height, and then they can get their bearings from there. But that's typically where you want to be first thing in the morning. Then during the rest of the day, you can kind of make your way through the park.
Yeah, because all the birds kind of work their way.
Yeah, exactly. Work their way up the tip. Again, it's another funny thing is Sparrow Field. Mm-hmm. What do you see there? Sparrows.
Yeah.
It's crazy that this just little area, and it's pretty. Well, you get some of the warblers not come through, but
they're like woodland.
Whenever you want to see sparrows,
guaranteed.
You go there, and it's just.
Don't like to use the word guaranteed, by the way.
No, yeah. Don't. If Nick ever guarantees you something, the only guarantee I'll give you is you're not seeing it. So anytime if you're in Nick's company and he says, I guarantee you we're going to see this or see that,
it's not happening.
You're not seeing it.
I don't know why either.
Yeah,
It's
he needs to remove that word from his vocabulary.
Yeah, I've been trying.
So just, and if he says it, and especially if you've handed over money to be in Nick's company, just ask for the money back.
Yeah.
Say no, it's okay.
So basically, we can guarantee no sparrows in Sparrow Field
there you
this
go.
year.
Yeah. So if you go to Sparrow Field, you're going to get sparrows, and then that walk up there. If you walk up either side of each beach, you're going to get birds. It's going to, again, you got to take your time. It's always good to walk a little bit, stop for a while, and just stand there. Because
absolutely.
After you stand for a bit, birds either come up from the ground or drop out of the trees or fly in.
And then, like, the first day you go, or first couple days you go, you're especially if you've never done it before, your eyes aren't like trained to like see movement almost. It's but after you go a few times, it's like, what moved over there? What moved over there? And it's like I feel like a tiger just like locking in. Even like when we go like snowy owls, right? It's like the first couple snowy owls are like hard to find like every year, and then after that, it's like you just find hundreds of them. No, well, not hundreds, but we've seen, I don't know, what are we at, 30, 40 this year? But like probably thousands of white plastic bags that look like snowy owls. But yeah, you gotta get your eyes trained for sure, but it goes quickly. You get it figured out.
I always have a fear every year that I'm gonna forget every bird.
I think I do.
So
every springtime, it's like I'm like trying to figure out what these basic ones are again. But it's like for the first couple of days, then you get back in the groove of it.
But that's it. So you get Sundays coming through. Again, part of it's learning when they're coming through, like the early migrants. So whenever, if you hit Peely, I keep saying Peely, if you hit migration in the middle, where you're getting the end of the early migrants and the start of the late migrants, that's when you're getting the biggest diversity. So I find usually by then, I've really clicked back in as far as what I'm seeing, and like the names are all coming to me pretty quickly, or even some of the ones, because I do a bit of research, and some of the other people that have posted things or sightings. You get your memory, you get things locked on, and you see something, you go, oh, that's even though you've never seen it before, but you're able to sort of identify it without having to go to the books every time, just because you've built up a knowledge base. So even though you may think you're going to forget about it, you still are able to sort of grasp quickly and get back onto it. But there is always that early spring fear that, I've forgotten everything. I haven't seen these birds for a year.
Just back to eagle, bird, and duck.
There you go. Yeah,
seagull.
exactly. So, we'll start there and work down. Yeah. But so it's exciting time, and like I said, the whole ID process can seem a bit daunting, but it's, again, that's not the main reason you're out there enjoying it. No, just to see these things, even if you can't quickly identify them, is the beauty of it. And with other things going on too, the other animals starting to get into breeding season, you start to see a bit more activity. Some people aren't as fond of some of the creepy crawlies and things, but you start to see more activity there. The snakes and that start to come up a bit. I've already seen a few posts from yesterday, because it's been so warm. Some of the garter snakes have already started to come out, so I find that exciting. Some people not so much. And again, I'm starting to see, last night when I was driving home, almost hit a possum, so that was the first possum I've seen of the year. Just warm weather, all starting to come out. So I had to sort of line the car up and go over it. Thankfully, I've got a lot of clearance there, so as long as that didn't move, it was going to be good.
They're good at playing dead, that's sure.
That's it. So there's a possum. I'm seeing more raccoons and things like that there, so the activity is...
We're getting there, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And
it comes quick. That's
This is probably fake spring now.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to get a few days. We're going to get the temperatures dropping again. So although we're starting to get excited about it, the signs are there, right? Once the birds are coming back, the treetops here. Another thing I should mention is that you'll start driving about. We want you to start to pay a bit more attention as you're driving around. Some things that as you're driving along, you'll see. Along the roadsides are the trees and the hydro wires. You're starting to see dark birds sitting on it. Doesn't matter how much you slow down, they're still going to be dark. But the red-winged blackbirds, the males come back early, about a month earlier than the females, and they set up territory. So they all go and they'll sit along in the highest point.
Yeah.
So
every telephone pole on our way here pretty well had one.
Exactly. So but the top birds be in the top of the trees with the suitable habitat at the bottom, because the nest closer to the bottom of the tree are shrubs near the water. But the males, they're king of the castle. The castle's the one with the tallest, with the best sort of apartment in the basement.
Yeah.
So you're starting to see that there. But as you slow down, that makes it a bit harder for us, because during the winter, usually we're seeing the hawks on the wire, so if you slow down, it was a kestrel. Now you're starting to get taken over more. It's going to be red-winged blackbirds everywhere. They're already singing. You can hear them. We can hear them here. I'm not sure if you can hear them in the background. But yeah, that's what you're going to start to hear. All the birds are starting to set up territory. The killdeer are just singing like mad at the minute. I'm seeing them just sort of setting up territory. And as every week, nearly on a daily basis, other than whenever the winds are the south winds, whenever you see, so if you're in this area in Essex County and you're starting to see south winds,
it's a good day normally.
Yeah, you're going to have seen migration. There'll be new birds coming into the area. So some of the things you've seen, some of the birds have been here over the winter as well. Some of them will move back further north, and we'll get some of the regular birds that we've had coming in. So the aggression of the birds is going to start changing, where you've had like even cardinals. I've had 10 cardinals at my yard all winter. In the sort of peak of the winter in December, they were really tolerant of each other. The males were all sitting getting food off the feeder. As it got closer there in the last month, the males were chasing each other off. So they're now trying to defend the territory.
Starting to rain?
Starting to rain. Yeah. So
that wasn't in the forecast.
Yeah. So. Unfortunately, we didn't really set up with umbrellas. Like Nick said in the last podcast, we're going to be sitting in the rain. He didn't bring the umbrellas. So, yeah, they're going to be setting up. The aggression of the birds here are going to become more territorial as they try to set up areas for them and their mate. But they're going to be our regular birds. The cardinals are going to nest in our area. House sparrows, unfortunately, are going to nest like crazy. If you can, try to discourage them from nesting in your area and try and encourage some of the more native birds. If you can get purple martins, tree swallows, bluebirds, if you can set up boxes. And in fact, if you want to have any of those boxes, if you're into purple martins or screech owls or bluebirds, get in touch as well. I've got a few contacts that I can certainly send your way as far as getting boxes set up. You can, nothing to do, not affiliated with me or whatever, but you can discuss with them. You can send them a message. We'll connect you, and they'll set up the boxes for you. But in urban areas, a friend of ours, we're going to hopefully have him on the show talking about his urban screech owl program.
That's pretty cool.
Really good guy, and he's had the last couple of years has had the webcam set up on his screech owl box, and right in the city of Windsor, he's getting. Really,
has he got a link for that for this year, or?
I'll have to check it out. Yeah,
if he's got one, we'll leave it.
We'll get it. He's going to be on as well, so hopefully when we speak to him, we'll let him give you all the details. We don't want to steal his thunder and talk about that.
True.
Give it all away. But it may be too late to set up a box. Maybe not. Still, like they're all in the meeting.
You'd have to do it
it'd be pretty quickly. So you'd have to get the box and put it up. So that may be a bit too late. But you can probably get one set it up and have it over the year. But again, some of these things you have to maintain.
Yep.
You put a screech owl box up and you never touch it, it's going to be full of squirrels in no time. Same with the bluebird boxes. If you don't try and maintain them, the house sparrows are going to take over. So you have to do weekly maintenance on some of these tree swallows. Will come in with the bluebirds, and you want to kind of same thing. You want to try and dissuade the tree swallows a little less than the house sparrows, but if you got these boxes up, you want to try and get these native species nesting in your area. So as we go through, and if you're interested in that, we'll connect you with them, and hopefully we're going to have them talking, and they'll tell you about the maintenance and what they do to promote sort of the species that you want in your area. And like I said, it's good that you can get these in urban areas and you can get them in rural areas. The bluebird's not, it's going to be more rural. You're going to have a bit more space and that, but the screech owls, if there's a treed subdivision,
they love everything pretty well.
So they're good for pest control. They're going to eat the rats and mice in your area, so that might be like a real sweetener to get a screech owl box put up. But yeah, so there's lots of things to look forward to. A lot of excitement as far as birding is concerned, and the breeding of other animals as well. You're starting to see that happening. So that activity, again, just get in touch with us if you've got some exciting stories and things you're excited about that you're seeing in your backyard or wherever, your campsite, wherever you're going and you're seeing these things. Get in touch, let us know what you're seeing. Like I said, we had sort of hoped as well that with the Festival of Birds we could give more information with the Point Pelee Festival of Birds. The only information we give you, it's not happening. So if there is other things happening, if there's things that are coming up, we're hoping that we can provide links and provide information towards that. If you've got information, if you're watching this and you're in control of that, certainly send us a message and we'll get the information up and out to our audience.
The rain kind of brought up another thing too, that probably the most important thing you get in the springtime is like some good gear, because like you're out there, we're out there for like 12 hours a day. Good footwear is a must, or else you're going to be hurting pretty quickly. Sure.
You're going to want to set a bag together. If you want to make, I don't necessarily recommend people go out straight away and try and do it for 12 hours a day for weeks on end. But you
definitely want to be comfortable.
Yeah, when you're going to go out for even just your one day over the spring, or you've got a bit of free time, you want to set a backpack up with some waterproofs, with a snack if you're planning. If you want to stay in the likes of Point Pelee or wherever woodland you're in, a small pack lunch. You don't want to be carrying around a lot of food with you, or you're able to go back to your vehicle and have a lunch.
And expect to get a little muddy, probably.
Yeah, so muddy. You want to have boots of some description,
or waterproof hiking boots of something.
If you really want to get into it, get the waders on. You don't care what the weather's like, just keep playing through stuff.
It's hardcore.
But you got to be prepared. I also don't want to put off people by thinking it's gear heavy. You have to spend a lot of money. We have got quite a bit of money.
Especially now, though, it's gotten even smaller than when I started. Like you can get like small, I don't even know the names anymore. The not mirrorless. What's the other one? Like the super zoom, like all-in-ones.
The bridge ones.
Yeah, the bridge cameras. Yeah. Those are great for like just starting out. They have like these look like huge zoom cameras, but those bridge cameras have 10 times what we have, and it's super tiny.
Actually, and that's probably a good recommendation. Anybody who asks me, who says they're getting into bird photography or wants to start doing photography of any sort, I always recommend bridge camera.
Yeah.
They're a less expensive. They can be pricey. Now you can get a good used one. All this gear to get better quality is always going to cost you more money.
Yeah.
But
you get to a point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's, you know,
like a $3,000 camera to a $10,000 camera, you're really not going to notice much. But like a $100 camera to $500 camera, you're going to notice substantial difference. And $500 camera to $1,000 camera, you're going to notice a pretty good difference as well.
Yeah. So the bridge camera is what I recommend because they give you the ability to do stuff close up, your landscapes and that there, you know, your portraits, your family photos. But then if you want to shoot the moon.
Yep.
So these things have moon modes on them, right? No, they're I'm pretty much handheld.
You can literally shoot anything with them.
Yeah. So you're getting at a price point which is, I'm not going to say reasonable. Everybody's got their own budget, so like, what is reasonable? But as far as camera equipment is concerned, that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Also gives you the ability then, as you learn, to start doing the manual settings.
Yep.
Right. So you can go from having the auto, and these things pretty much are foolproof, to going into the sets that we would use to try and get different types of photo. And that bridge camera will allow you that. So you're walking around with some nowhere near the size. It's probably just the size of the body.
Really,
so if you took this off, just having whatever 5-6 inches in your hand. That's what all you need.
Yeah. After a few hours of hauling these, you're feeling it.
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely. No, they're heavy. You know, you can use monopods. We've got a monopod on their binoculars, so right down to this here, which is pretty lightweight. So you can carry that around and balance your camera or your scope. Again, scope. I wouldn't say it's basic equipment. You're a little step up, but when you're going to areas that you're trying to identify some of the birds,
shorebirds
exactly. Any of the shorebirds don't really let you get very close, and some of them are very small. So a scope's sort of a must for that, because you're wanting to see stuff at a distance, but still with good quality. And same thing with that there. You know, a decent one's going to start probably around $600.
And we'll probably talk about more later about you're into it way more than I am, because I don't even own a scope. But digiscoping,
right.
That's pretty cool as well. It's really cool.
Yeah, and there's a number of different ways of doing that. With the digiscoping, you can use your cell phone with good quality and also attach your camera. It's a bit more tricky actually, and I would probably just recommend using a phone setup. As long as you've got a decent phone. But yeah, the scope's good for a lot of different. Even some of the birds you're going to see aren't going to move during the day. So with that kind of timing, setting a scope up's not a problem, because you've got the time. Doing any kind of digiscoping, even with your binoculars, you set you're doing this here. It's all, and then all the bird's gone anyway. So you don't particularly want that.
We've all tried it.
Everybody's tried to do something with it. And it's remarkable how you think here's the camera lens, here's the...
Yeah, it doesn't.
That's not how it works. But you get a bit more proficient. I've never actually got very proficient at holding my camera against the glass.
You would need a couple minutes to sit there and mess around with it, and by then, whatever you're shooting is long gone.
Yeah. So, there's a number of different things. It's, like I said, the gear side of things, always keep it in your budget. Most people who are going to be interested in this kind of thing are outdoors type of people. So we don't want you to, if you haven't experienced outdoors before, but you're wanting to get into it, don't go and buy a lot of equipment. Don't go say, take your credit card and just blast it on wherever you're going to do it for top of the range binoculars, camera, waterproof gear. Get the tilly on, get the vest on. You don't need it. No.
Are you saying something about my tilly hat that I usually have on?
Yeah, you don't need a tilly hat. You'll still see birds without the tilly hat. That's it. No, just wear your regular clothes, but some of the stuff, like you're saying, comfort.
Yeah.
If you're planning to be out there, you want to enjoy it. You don't want to have sore feet. No, you don't want to be laden down with equipment that you can't carry.
Exactly.
So you want to be within your own means of
even
control.
Like us, like we're kind of, I think we're more like the run and gun kind of setups for the most part. We're not there setting up big tripods and sitting there for the day, but there's you'll see when you get out there's many different kind of genres of photographers. Some guys will sit there, shoot one tree with having birds land on there. Other guys are going out to trying to see as much as they can see. There's a bunch of ways to do it, and I think we both prefer the lighter setup for the most part. We're trekking through woods, and it's there's a lot going on for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want I don't want to. There is guys and gals who who are into the photography, that is it. You know, if they don't have
the
shots,
best shot,
they're going home grumpy.
Yeah.
You know, they need it either for their business or their, I don't know if they're doing tours or what their aspect of the professional side of things are. There are the odd one who has that kind of setup who's amateur.
Yep.
You know, if you want to spend that kind of money, it's obviously entirely up to yourself.
Jealous, just let me know.
But yeah, so it's oppressive, really, you know, because you're walking about with a big carbon fiber tripod that doesn't close.
Yeah.
So, you know, I guess it's good for social distancing.
Yo, perfect.
Right? Because you've got
no,
the 6 feet in every direction that nobody can get near you, and the trail's only 4 feet wide.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's kind of awkward. But there is many people, and I don't begrudge anybody if that's what they're doing. You know, I give them their space.
Yeah,
you
we
know,
definitely see the advantages to it, without a doubt, having a big tripod setup and that kind of setup. But as of now, it's not for us, I don't think.
No, honestly, because we're out trying to enjoy
more adventure.
Exactly,
like we
the
said
adventure
before.
side of it, the whole aspect of enjoying nature.
Yep. As much of it as you can take in as once.
Exactly. So you know, ours is we want to get good photos. Obviously, we want to try and get the best photos we can.
Yep.
But we're not at the point where we're spending massive amounts of money just because that, like, no, we need to get the shot. No, it's we're out and we're enjoying ourselves.
Yeah.
At some point, the enjoyment might cost us another $9,000 for a bigger lens.
Yeah.
But no, that's where the money sort of gets crazy.
Yeah.
And it puts people off. It scares people. You don't need this. No. Even this year. No, there's sort of expensive.
That's like the jump, right? You got like $500 lens you can get started, and that's a pretty decent lens. Then it goes up to like what me and you guys around like the $2,000 mark.
Right.
And then once you jump from 2,000 up, you're 10,000.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a significant jump. There is a huge difference in quality, obviously, but you're also carrying something 3 times the size of this.
Yeah.
Weighs 3 times as much weight, and you're going to be hurting by the end of the day.
And,
that's for sure.
And they come with their downfalls too.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
People go, we're going to get the best. If I get a 500 mil, 600 mil, I'm going to get. Yeah, but you have to be a minimum of like 20 feet away from.
You're always at that. It's a prime lens, so you're always at that distance.
Yeah, so there is downfalls to them. There is obviously upshots that, you know, you're.
When you get that shot, it's
exactly. Whenever it's
beautiful.
it's going to be a really nice thing, but. There's a large learning curve with them too.
Yeah.
You're not just going to be able to jump in and start taking photos with a 1DX with a 500 mil on the end there. So,
like we said, don't expect to just spend 20 grand on camera equipment and get like the amazing shots.
No,
definitely, it is a learning curve without a doubt. Just learning how to focus a camera properly is huge. Right. And that's all stuff I'm sure we'll get into more.
Yeah, well, that's it. There's techniques, tips that you want to learn when hand holding. When like I personally do prefer carrying a tripod with a gimbal on it, just for focusing. Like whenever I want to do the fine tune focusing, I don't like having it in my hand. It's just one too many things for my liking. You can get proficient doing it both ways. A lot of people just like having the camera handheld, like to talk about holding their camera and how it feels. So. We will talk about that. We will talk about that on any of our little
more technical side
workshop sort of things.
I'm good at tech.
Yeah. Nick's going to talk technical stuff all day. I'll just talk about wiggling the thing here, turning the knob there,
bits and bobs.
Some stuff. Nick will tell you about the f-stops and the how many milliseconds he wants you to shoot at and capture the light and whatever. So yeah, that's. If you get bored with that, you can come and listen to the dummies version. But yeah, so there's definitely some things to learn. There's always stuff for us to learn as well.
Oh, yeah, we learn every day. It's even what we're doing now. We've never done this before, right? It's the whole podcast.
That was our second one.
Oh yeah, this is our second one.
We were pros.
It is going way smoother.
This is real smooth. I don't know why we've never done this before.
I know.
Well, the only problem. We don't know many people are going to watch this.
Yeah.
This could be for our own benefit.
Yeah. We'll look back one day and love it.
Just watch. Sure. There'll be like 4 views, and that was the 2 times we watched it. It's. We're hoping this is going to be a good format for us to share our stuff and for you to connect with us. You connecting with us is as important, because if you don't, then we're talking to ourselves about things we already enjoy and do ourselves, other than having it recorded.
Not the worst thing.
No,
campfire talk.
Exactly.
Really.
And honestly, this is what we do anyway.
Yeah.
We're typically out, and then we're sitting talking about what we've done for the day. Around a campfire rather than a table. We may set this on fire at some point. I don't know. It depends how cold it gets. So we'll see. And like I said, we've already spoke to a few of our friends who are going to come. We're going to have them sitting here somewhere, and we're going to talk to them about stuff that we think that you'll enjoy as well. Actually, I'm more excited about it because I like talking to them about what their interests are as well. So there's some of our friends do some pretty exciting stuff.
Oh yeah.
In nature and involving nature. So we want to keep that momentum going. I'm not sure if there's anything else we should cover with any of the gear or the basics.
I think that's about it, eh?
Probably.
I think so.
So we'll wrap it up. So I'm going to say it's a goodbye from Nick.
And a goodbye from Donnie.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.